So when you think about a watch, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For a lot of people, it's the movement, the case, maybe the brand name. But today, we're going to focus on its face, the dial. And trust me, it's so much more than just a surface for telling time. It's like this miniature canvas where art, engineering, and a whole lot of personality come together.
Okay, let's just dive right in. I want to start by asking you a question. When you look at a watch, whether it's on your own wrist or in a shop window, what's the one thing that really grabs you? What's the part that makes you feel something? I mean, is it the gears you can't even see? The shape of the case? Think about it.
For almost everyone, it's the dial, right? It's the face of the watch. It's the main point of interaction. And it doesn't just display the time. It displays the watch's entire character. It's the part you build a real relationship with, day in and day out. And this slide just shows you the incredible range we're talking about. I mean, look at this. On the left, you've got a masterpiece from the absolute legend George Daniels. We're talking an intricate, hand-turned silver dial, classic blued steel hands, just pure craft. Then on the right, a modern Parmigiani Fleurier with its super complex layout and contemporary finish. These are two completely different worlds, and both are telling their story right there on the dial.
So let's start with the most immediate thing you notice about any dial, its color. This is where so much of a watch's vibe and personality comes from.
Forever, two colors have really been the foundation of watchmaking. You've got your classic black dials, like the glossy lacquered one on the Rolex Explorer. The contrast is just amazing, super legible. And then you have crisp white. It's just so clean, so versatile. And you see brands from Omega to Serica using these polar white dials to create something that's incredibly sharp and elegant.
But, color isn't just a simple choice. It can be part of a whole layout strategy. And that brings us to a piece of watch nerd jargon you hear all the time, the reverse panda dial. It got super popular with racing chronographs back in the 60s and 70s, and it's all about that high contrast, sporty look that was easy to read at a glance, even at high speeds.
And a perfect example of this is the brand new Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch. They just dropped this version with this absolutely beautiful, high-gloss, lacquered reverse panda dial. It just proves that a killer color combo never ever goes out of style and can make even the most famous watch in the world feel fresh and new.
But let's be real. These days, watchmakers are playing with the entire rainbow. Green dials went from being a trend to being a staple. They're basically evergreen now. That light, bright turquoise color people call Tiffany blue has become a total sensation. And we're seeing really bold statements with colors like pink and even these wild, luminous, streetwear-inspired shades like Seiko's Huff Green. It's a fun time for color.
But it goes so much deeper than just color. How a dial's surface is actually treated, its texture and finish, that completely changes how it plays with light. It gives it this unique depth and character that you just can't get with a flat color.
This quote, comparing two of the most iconic watches ever made, just hits the nail on the head. You've got the Patek Philippe Nautilus with its horizontal, ribbed pattern, and then the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak with that famous grid-like Clou de Paris texture. They have completely different feelings, right? One is sort of flowing and elegant, the other is architectural and sharp. That's all because of texture.
Now, one of the most revered forms of texture is a heritage craft called guilloche. This isn't something stamped out by a machine. Oh no, this is a mechanical art form where a craftsman uses a special, often antique lathe to hand carve these hypnotic, geometric patterns right into the metal. It's an incredibly difficult skill that takes years and years to master.
And this is the result. We're back to that George Daniels watch again. I mean, just look at it. Look at the incredibly fine wave-like patterns on that subdial and that barley corn pattern on the main dial. This is hand guilloche on solid sterling silver. The way it catches the light, no flat surface could ever do that. It is pure art made of metal.
Modern finishes can also give a dial this kind of split personality, which is super cool. So, take the Rolex Explorer. In the daylight, its markers are this crisp, snowy white against that glossy black dial. But then, in the dark, that powerful chromolite lume kicks in and completely transforms it, glowing this amazing, handsome blue. It's basically two watches in one.
All right, so we've talked about metal. But what if the dial wasn't made of metal at all? Some of the most absolutely breathtaking dials are actually carved from materials that come straight from the earth. Each one has its own soul.
Yeah, this is where watchmaking kind of meets geology. Instead of using paint or lacquer, watchmakers use these paper-thin slices of natural stone. And this is incredibly challenging to do. These materials are so brittle and can crack at any moment during the process. But the payoff?
Every single dial is a completely unique work of art, a one-of-a-kind painting made by nature. And the variety is just wow. You've got Tiger Eye with those golden fibrous bands that just seem to shimmer and dance in the light. You have the deep banded green of malachite, which feels like you're looking into a forest. Labradorite, which has this otherworldly flash of blues and greens. Or Petersite, which looks like a chaotic, beautiful storm of color. Each one brings this organic, wild beauty to a high-precision machine.
Of course, it's not just about these exotic stones. It's also about taking traditional materials and just elevating them to a whole other level. In the high-end world, you'll find dials made from solid precious metals, like those sterling silver dials we saw earlier, which are the absolute perfect canvas for techniques like hand guilloche.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. Because a truly great dial isn't just about one of these things. It's not just the color or just the texture. It's about how all of these elements work together in perfect harmony. It's the total package.
You know, I love this quote from a commenter on Hodinkee, because for all the talk about complicated movements and crazy finishing on parts you can't even see, this person just nails the simple truth. The dial is what you actually look at. It's that human connection to the machine.
And that's really the key takeaway here. A great dial is a masterful blend of all these choices. It's picking the right color, pairing it with a texture that plays with the light in a beautiful way, making it from a material that gives it life and character, and then bringing it all together with expert craftsmanship. That's what turns a watch from a simple tool into a true piece of art.
So at the end of the day, any dial tells you the time. That's its basic job. But the great ones, they do so much more. They tell a story of craft, of design, of nature, of history. So the next time you look at a watch, don't just ask what time it is. Ask yourself, what story is this dial telling me?